Thank you. So we are going to start with a question that will go around the panelists. So I would like to know what your organization sees as the most significant opportunity for AI and evidence-based decision making. Then the other question is if you can give us some of the examples in your organization around AI and evidence-based decision making. Susan, maybe still you can go first.
Okay, thank you. And since I come from UNICEF, where we work very closely with children and women, I'll relate AI to children. Your children at home have toys, the movies they watch, the friends they make. AI is already influencing each of these areas. AI is prompting them about which friends to who to be friends with, which movies to watch, and a lot of engagement, even the toys today. We are looking at AI from the angle where we have children in a context, in a more urban context. But at UNICEF, we are looking at the potential of AI way back to the most marginal groups. And we see that AI has the potential to influence us, the work we do, the programs we do in education, in health, child protection, and a lot more that we do with the government of Uganda and the UNICEF Global Office. In this, we see AI potentially in the area of big data. We are able to fork out, AI is able to help us fork out this data that can help with decision making. When we dig up using AI, and we can tell the incidence of disease, the prevalence of disease in certain communities, in marginal groups, if AI can help us in surveillance of disease, when we had the Ebola breakout, we're able to detect it and pick it up quickly using the mechanisms that we have. But we see that AI can actually leapfrog us in surveillance, in areas of surveillance, in areas of education, using the big data that we pick out using its potential. And AI can also is able to help us with enhancing adaptability. And this in the context, say, of education. Imagine if in Uganda we are able to tailor strategies, if we are able to have strategies that can help us tailor education that is targeted for a child in Karamoja, and we get that package that targets a child in Bundibujo, get a package that targets a child in Central, so that we use the strength that we have using the power of AI to tailor programs to really build skills and capacity to prepare children for their later lives. This is a very good area that we are looking at AI and solutions in AI in that area. And then we also look at AI in terms of accessibility. We have children with special needs. Recently we did some work with the Ministry of Education with assistive devices, where we have children who have blindness, deafness, these disabilities that with children, but they have a potential. And we know that AI is able to help us tap into solutions that address these challenges in our midst. This is a very good moment for us to embrace AI. And we are seeing a good development, which is fast moving, and AI is taking a very strong distance. And when we get to the point at which the length at which AI has moved and it equals to the height, we will be in an AI field where we can leapfrog even within the developing countries. We can catch up easily with those countries that have moved ahead of us and are somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you. Peter?
Sure. I think from our perspective, we have two major reasons why we exist as Centenary Group. The first one is provide financial services and innovative business solutions to uplift the lives of the rural poor. And the second one is for environmental conservation. So when we see Sunbird and what they are doing around the environment, that's exciting stuff for us. Now, having said that, we have 2.5 million customers. That's, well, we have the largest customer base in the country. We look after 46,000 SACCOs, 46,000 village savings and loan associations. Remember, we talked about rural poor. 12,000 SACCOs, 3,388 schools across the country, 246 hospitals, 219 other institutions, 640 parishes. That's all data, isn't it? And for us, the challenge there is, how do we get all this data and make it meaningful and useful so that we can provide financial services and innovative business solutions to the rural poor to uplift their lives? So I think one of the things that we've been doing right now is try and collect all this data and start to find meaning around it, but also to draw patterns and also to start following the individual that we deal with, whether it's somebody who goes to one of our hospitals or one of our schools or banks with us, or deals with one of our partnership programs that we do with other people, like some of the things we're going to do with Sunbird or the things we do with MasterCard, so that we have a life journey that is powered by AI of a person that we interact with, and we find more innovative ways of supporting them, but also less expensive ways. So, for instance, if just one last one before I finish, if you look at our agent network is one of the largest. It's about 5,000 to 6,000 agents across the country. And I think one of the things, it's a huge cost, of course, for us, but one of the things that we are concerned about is we don't want to reach only the powerful people like Martin. We want to reach the rural poor, so we must go everywhere where the people are. And I think one of the concerns that we have is how do we use this power of compute, the power of data, and the people around it who are interested to bring that cost of transactions lower, so that even the person who's unbanked can be enticed to go into the formal financial services sector. And that's one of the things that we're looking at. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thanks, Peter. Joyce?
Yeah, thanks, Martin. So I'll come in from the angle of the work that we're doing in the Makerere AI lab. Our institution is a research lab under the Department of Computer Science that provides an opportunity for students. Basically, if you're interested in AI, you want to learn about AI, you want to do work about AI, you come to the lab. Undergrad, masters, PhD, researchers, in between, you finish your bachelor's, you want to leapfrog into the AI field, we provide the space for that. And so based on that nature, because we are in a research institution, which is the university, we do a lot of research in AI and machine learning. But what drives us is the fact that we try not to do that just within the lab, but we try and reach out to partners that will be very essential in using up the technologies that we're coming up with. But most importantly, why the partners are needed is because of the data. We can't overemphasize the data problem. We don't have data in the lab, but we have to get the data from somewhere. And so we find that our partners are very critical in helping us to get the data that we need to be able to do the AI work that goes on in the lab. And so based on the work that we do and the experience, and we have several projects that are ongoing in the lab using several technologies, computer vision, NLP, so many other technologies that we're using. And so, for example, if I can tell out the longest ongoing project that we've had in the lab, that's from agriculture and interacting with the agriculture experts. So for them, they won't even know, what AI is. It would be that you have to, start from scratch, from basic, telling them, okay, you have this data, this is what the technology can do. But most importantly, you're not just doing it for the experts, you're doing it for the person at the end, the smallholder farmer who's empowered, for example, with the mobile phone. So how do you make sure that you have the technology that you've developed, but that can be tailored to someone out there in the field or someone in their gardens, using that technology to solve their day-to-day problems that they have. one of the projects that are ongoing is one around the recommender system. So, we have so many farmers, and sometimes they feel like they're working alone, and yet they can have a network of farmers that they can interact with, to get advice. For example, if someone is saying, oh, I have a lot of maize and I don't have, market for my maize, where can I sell my, my maize? Or I need good quality seeds. Maybe the last ones I got the last time didn't work very well. How can you be able to bridge that gap and provide timely recommendation for farmers? So I see that AI, is such a great opportunity that it can quicken, the time that the farmers would have to look for solutions, because it can easily be able to provide the solutions through the work that we are doing in the lab through the recommender system. Another project which we tried to work on as well, I think during the COVID pandemic, was around misinformation analysis on social media. I know many of us were in our homes, we were very frustrated. Where did people go? Okay, they went to social media until the point when they cut us off our internet. But at some point, you'd go to social media and you'd be alarmed by, what people were saying there. And so AI, has the potential to track misinformation. And I remember one of the people at that time said that we need to build misinformation models in social media. And we thought, okay, that's a very good opportunity. And so one of the projects that we are, winding up is social media analysis. And this can be a very good opportunity, not just for COVID-19 in the pandemic, but for any other thing that can come, because there are always things that people come, talk about, and you're really sure that this is so wrong, but because it's someone who's an influencer, for example, or someone who has many followers, and people can, launch onto that and move along with it. Maybe another thing that I feel like, the final one, that AI is very important, of course, is the thing around inclusion, the thing around gender. I think sometimes when we are thinking about AI, we don't get to think about the fact that, oh, who are the end users? Who are the people who are going to use this technology? How do they look like? Where do they come from? We are very quick to come and say, oh, I have a very good solution, but is that inclusive enough? When the data was being collected to build your AI model, was that very inclusive? Did you get data from all the groups that are going to benefit from the AI systems that you're coming up with? So I feel like that's a very great opportunity that as we are thinking and designing AI, as we're thinking about it for policy, because when the policymakers come in, they will want data from everyone. They won't just say, oh, I'm using your AI tool, but it's just for men. They will want for everyone. So even through the process, I think that's for me, I feel like it's very important and a very great opportunity that we can think about these things as we build AI models.